Rock, paper, scissors.
Did you say grok?
Episode 432.
I heard croc.
God damn it. Episode 432 of the TV Dudes, recorded April 19th, 2023. Florida Man. This week, we're talking about Florida Man on Netflix. And Nick and Les have thoughts on Power Rangers Once and Always, also on Netflix. Plus, we've got our thoughts on Ted Lasso. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. Y'all, this was a big week for there's a big Ted Lasso episode that we'll talk about. If you're a Power Rangers fan, there was Power Rangers.
Yes.
Mandalorian dropped the same day, which meant that Nick, you didn't get a chance to watch Mandalorian, so we're going to hold off on talking about that.
Nope, I had to watch a completely other legacy character die. Actually, I have no idea. I'm just guessing on what's happening in Mandalorian.
And I'm giving away nothing. Stoneface, no spoilers. So yeah, but there was a lot to watch today, and before that, we watched Florida Man. So we'll be talking about all that. But before we talk about our main course, we always have our appetizers. And why don't you all start with the appetizers this week?
Well, I want to say that I don't think people at home get to appreciate, because we don't do video podcasts, and I'm grateful for that. But Randy's commitment to no spoilers and his love of Mandalorian mean that he wears a helmet, MF Doom style, for every podcast and has for years. Like how long have I known you? I've never seen your face. I know you have a beard because it's long and it sometimes.
Well, then he'd get kicked out of the culvert. Les, think about it.
The face, right. No, the beard is on my helmet. That face that you see on Facebook.
Oh my god,
that is my helmet.
Oh my god! Now I just want a Mandalorian helmet with a beard on it.
I have a tiny little head inside that Randy head-shaped helmet. That is, you've never seen my actual face.
I only assume he loves certain Star Trek episodes. But you can't get a read on him.
This is the way.
This is the way.
It is.
Anyway, what'd you guys watch?
That's canon now. Randy wears a helmet.
That's why he's sort of muffled.
We're gonna sell those.
I watched a lot of Last Week Tonight.
He even got me to watch a couple of Last Weeks Tonight.
Yeah. I watched the most recent, but I think I'm caught. I think I'm caught up.
Well, I showed Les the one from last week, but the alternate one, because they did one on housing or homeowners associations.
Yes. Oh, that was horrifying. I already hated HOAs, but man.
Yeah. But it was like, oh, but if you're under 35, don't worry about this. This will never apply to you. You will never own a home.
Yeah.
Like, you'll just rent.
I'm over 35, and lack of an HOA is basically the entire reason I bought my house. like when I was buying my house and does it have an HOA sold?
So instead, what they do is they put something online called Last Squeak Tonight, which was a deep dive into Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh my god.
It was fantastic. Wow.
The rabbit hole for that rat is amazing.
Like, to figure out the origins of Chuck E. Cheese, of the guy that invented it was talking about the summer solstice and entertainment along with a meal.
Roman yeah. That since the time of the Romans we've had entertainment during meals, and I want to bring that back. And he had just parachuted out of Atari with 80s Atari money, and was like, "Video games are hot shit. Let's do this."
And yeah, and then Chuck E. Cheese originally was this Jersey, do you have a Brooklyn or a Jersey accent? You have a Jersey Shore kind of accent.
Insult comic.
Yes.
And a cigar. He leans out of the frame and hey, toots.
Hey.
Oh, is it your birthday? Who cares?
Which one a little best is your birthday? It's just, he doesn't swear, but there is a vaudeville, insult comic level to it. And there's also a hippo whose tits jiggle when she hits high notes when she sings, which was a crazy, even John brings up okay, so how horny do you have to be? That's a team of engineers, the whole conversation's having to go into the movement of breasts on a hippo, that would go up.
Yeah. You saw a prototype and gave notes, and those notes, at least at one point, were more tit jiggle. in the hippo for the children's casino that you've built.
Yeah, that's what the original Chuck E. Cheese felt like, was like a child's version of casino. It's that fucking island in Pinocchio where kids get turned into donkeys or some shit.
Yes.
Like it is a weird.
Absolutely.
And I sort of got the appeal of like, oh damn, that's kind of neat. Like obviously by the time I was in Chuck E. Cheese, it was a little bit different. We still had animatronics or whatever, and he was still a fucking rat, not a mouse. Like
yeah, now he's an orphan mouse. None of the original weird ass backstory.
And also you can apparently if you order from like Uber Eats or DoorDash, you can order from Chuck E. Cheese. It will not be called Chuck E. Cheese. They call it their Italian chef, who is like, I think John described him as illegally Italian, and it's Pasquale is the chef. So you can order from Pasquale's, which is just Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
If you're getting DoorDash to Chuck E. Cheese pizza, I got a Uber Eats or a DoorDash alert on my phone today for Thrilled Cheese, which we know is IHOP, I believe.
I think that's Super Megadilla or whatever. Like, yeah.
Yeah, they also do Megadilla.
I love the fucking marketing, like, of just entire, like, they spend so much money on marketing for IHOP and Chuck, the name brands to disguise themselves.
Yeah. There's a whole trend now of brand shame and ghost kitchens and like using a fake name, like It's Just Wings is Chili's.
Yeah.
But it's on DoorDash as It's Just Wings. Like, there's nothing to give that away. Except the driver, like, if you'd message your driver and are like, hey, are you in front of a fucking Chuck E. Cheese? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Cancel that order. Good call.
But the man in the rat suit just handed me your pizza.
John Oliver did a whole web exclusive on Air Bud that goes for like 20 minutes and has no point to it. Is just railing against Air Bud and rule lawyering on basketball, adding up Air Buddy's points on the basketball game.
Again, four
field goals. Now, if Buddy was running numbers, now suddenly we're having a different conversation. If he's putting up 30, 35 points a game, but he's not, is he? Again, 4 field goals.
4 goals from the field. He's terrible in defense.
And it got to the point of like talking about the alcoholic, abusive clown owner that he had, and the custody battle that the fucking movie ends with.
I've never seen Air Bud, so Nick had me watch this, and I had no idea what it was like.
God,
this is one of the rare times where Nick got to be like, "Oh yeah, you don't know what's about to happen." Yeah, man, Air Bud does not end in a basketball game. Air Bud ends in a court
custody battle for a dog.
Custody battle on a lawn for a dog.
Are you
between a clown?
Are you all going to come back to me next not next week because I won't be here, but 2 weeks from now? Are we doing our appetizers and be like, yeah, we watched the entire Air Bud series, incling the one where they fight the critters? Is that going to happen?
All the way through Space Buddies and Santa Buddies and Super Buddies?
I stopped watching after Golden Receiver.
That's solid work, though.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good title. No matter who you are, that's a good title.
That's pretty good. You gotta give it up on the pun work there. Yeah, and then we watched. Well, I watched a couple episodes of Zoo Ranger again, with the Riddle of the Sphinx, a dime store fucking Riddler that likes to turn children into trees and put them in a forest that's about to be cut down to become a golf course. So they're about to get just fucking sawed in half by guys with chainsaw. Like, the tone of the show is very interesting as far as I think child endangerment over there is just maybe much more common, or is it funny? Like, maybe I should watch more Japan shit, because they are on board with my opinion of child endangerment being hilarious. Yeah, but that kind of led me down was it another because I finished off the Owl House season, which was pretty good, so I kind of did a rewatch, starting to rewatch of that, or I was picking up where I'd rewatched it. Of course, Les every once in a while watches Owl House when I'm watching it, and just like, this show is weird.
This show is so strange, and the cartoon design is so, I mean, if you like Adventure Time, this is out there.
Yeah, Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, very much in that vein of things.
Right.
Yeah, I also love they have a lesson at the end of it of like they turn one of the bad guys and they convince him to be like their friend or whatever. Like he's just a child. So, but one of the bad guys they could precisely go, no, 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 not every bad guy deserves your sympathy and forgiveness, because the bad guy is like a human at the end of it, and he's like melting into his like of course their rain there is actual acid rain and it melt like boiling rain and it melts shit, and he's about to like fucking die and is begging the main character, the main child character on this children's show, to save him, and is like, hey, you can't leave me here to die, we're humans, we're supposed to be better than that. And then like three of the main characters go, yeah, but we're not, and then curb stomp him to death.
Oh, nice.
They just stomp him until like he's goo and the acid takes care of the rest. I'm like, okay, so yeah, the lesson here is that sympathize with the enemies you can, and if you can, make an enemy a friend, but if you can't, destroy them until there's nothing left.
For the children, I'm with this. I like it.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you offer your hand in friendship, but if it gets turned back, you fucking end him.
Yeah, I'm with this. I like it. Yeah.
It's a very Randy message, I thought.
Yeah. No, very friendly. It's I have never seen Roadhouse, but the ethos of Roadhouse, I believe,
Be nice
until it's time not to be nice.
until it's time to not be nice,
and then fuck a motherfucker up.
Roadhouse and Owl House did not know they were gonna have the same. I should have seen like maybe they're spin-offs of like this, the House saga.
Do you think they tie into House Party and House Party 2 at all?
I would think not, because that's the onus is on the house part of it, like, and it's a society based off of a house party. This is more like a, Roadhouse and Owl House are not really about the house.
That's true. It's a metaphorical house, opposed to a real house.
Yeah.
So what about House MD?
Now, House MD, now I could hear an argument there as far as House actually being from the Boiling Isles and just solving medical mysteries, because he's actually his genius is like, no, I'm just actually slightly magic. That's how I solve all these weird medical mysteries.
Owl House MD. Yes, that's how he does it every episode, and why he's such a cantankerous prick. No one can see his methods because like he just pretends to do a bunch of insanely reckless medical shit for half the episode, then sneaks into a closet, magics it away, but cannot possibly explain, like, oh no, there cannot be a follow-up trial. But this procedure could save lives. Nope, just a one-off.
And then Les had me watch Meatballs 2, which I'll let him explain.
Oh, so we'll get to that. I haven't watched Last Week Tonight in a while. Nick got me to watch Last Week Tonight, or Last Week Tonight, and then we watched the Last Week Tonight Air Bud, which was fucking bizarre. Then I put them on here not because I watch full episodes, but because they're insanely weird. Zoo Ranger and Owl House, I just keep wandering through living room and being like, fuck children's show is this? Did that kid just turn to stone while crying about his dead mom? My God. This is a Power Ranger show, sir. Then Fanny has been watching Succession, and so I've been watching Succession, even though I've not seen the previous 2 seasons. But I'm up on the big spoiler that just happened.
I don't know what it is. I just know there's a big spoiler.
Yep, there's a big spoiler.
Yep.
And Succession remains badass. The running gag about that show is that no one knows what the fuck they're talking about in all their crazy business lingo. Like, you're just watching scenes where you're like, all right, explain, like, pause it, explain what just happened.
So I know people love this show, and I know it's like beloved by critics. I watched the first episode, and I was like, man, fuck all these people. And everybody keeps talking. I feel like at some point I should go back to it and try it.
It's super high family drama.
Yeah.
And I every time I finish watching an episode, I'm like, nope, that was compelling. Like like I never watched 24, but the couple of 24 episodes that I have seen, I found myself like, yeah, I don't really care about this show, and realizing that I'm like white knuckling the chair I'm in.
Yeah.
But it's effective fucking television. And like that's the same way with Succession of like, I don't know, it's not really for me, I'm not really into it, but also like, nope, I didn't blink for that last 15 minutes. Jesus Christ, these people are terrible. And yeah, it's good performances, and just want to watch like just bitter family drama. But it also the reason I didn't get into it originally, I think, was watching it at a time when I was just kind of depends on how you feel that day about rich people and how much you can stand watching them.
Most days,
Most
not.
days that's a no.
Yeah. It's a no for me, dog.
Also watched Curse of the Undead, which is a 1959 black and white vampire western
Hell
from
yeah.
Universal.
Those are all words.
Yes, and it is strange. It is from Universal, like the same Universal that gave us all the Universal monsters.
Mhm.
And yet this is it's a vampire western that definitely started as a joke. Like you can tell, like it's even in the Wikipedia that like the screenwriter like said this as a joke, and the producer was like, no, go back to that. And it is needlessly sexual, particularly for 1959.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
shit.
I
Okay,
mean,
all
obviously
right.
nobody has sex on screen or anything, but the lead actor is this like low rent Humphrey Bogart, and in black and white, just like sucking blood out of the girl's neck, and the vampire kind of lore is already like a sexual creepy kind of thing, and this guy manages to make it so much weirder. Like weird have you ever kissed before, like kisses up and down their cheek, and like the first movie I've ever seen like make the like pulling the cloak over the girl as he like
Yeah.
goes in to drink her blood,
Yep.
but then she starts fucking fighting underneath the
Yeah,
cloak,
she wakes up.
and is like, but it's under the like obviously like, but like she's full struggling, and Nick and I were like, okay, well somehow that's so much worse.
Yeah,
Yours just
usually like
comes
the
off. Yeah, it's but it's also a western. Like the vampire in this town is also the hired assassin, like the black hat that this widow has hired to get vengeance. And so like as people keep telling her, like as the preacher in town is like, you don't need to be around this man, he's bad, like he's a killer, like literally anything short of he's a goddamn vampire, and she's like, yeah, I hired him for
I
that.
hired him to be
Obviously,
a killer.
he's a terrible person, and yeah, you don't like him. You're the minister in town, and I've hired a killer.
Yeah.
It
And the fact that he has his strategy as far as gun duels is to draw and steady draw
Oh.
and aim, because he doesn't care about getting shot.
Yeah, like it ends up being a plot point later when someone figures out what he's doing, but you realize like pretty quick that, oh, this is how you win all your, like you're not the best, you're not the fastest draw or the best gun in the West or anything. You just know you can take a bullet.
Yeah.
And so he just slowly draws, and like, yeah, there's like guys dying in the street, like their last words are, I know I shot him.
Yeah. No, I got him though.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, Curse of the Undead, worth tracking down. It was fun. If you'd all like black and white old monster movie kind of stuff, it's got an old Dracula vibe, while also being an old western.
I don't know where you could fucking watch it. We watched it on a fucking VHS tape.
Yeah, I don't know where it's actually streaming. Of
If anywhere.
course, I've got a VH. Of course, we watched it on a VCR. Then I also watched 30 Rock and some High Maintenance episodes, because that show's just kind of a groove. Watched a couple of Psych episodes that featured Woody, because I was on a Kurt Fuller fix after watching that news radio and seeing him turn up in Night Court. Caught up on Ghosts, which remains fucking great. I
So
love the
great.
running gag. Like, I love Pete having to call out Thorfinn on like, I know you know some of these words, man. Are you screwing with me? Like, he's like, oh, she drives land ship with seats made of cow hide or something like that. Man, I've heard you say leather. I know you know the word leather. And, like just getting the slow feeling that like every one of these ghosts has their own fun, like in their own weird way. Also, the running gag that Flower just keeps getting like losing her annoying suitor's head.
That was a really funny episode.
Yeah, so that like he just keeps annoying the fuck out of her, and like she'll talk to him for like 2 days, and then like, okay, you broke into song again, we're good. and throw his head out the door. Like, we'll just look for that for another decade or two. Watched last couple of episodes of Goldberg's, which continues to be Goldberg's. Watched Meatballs, which is Bill Murray's first movie, and I believe Ivan Reitman's first movie directing. And it's just a weirdly sweet camp movie of a bunch of disconnected vignettes and basically no plot drama at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Bill Murray being that era Bill Murray. And then Meatballs 2 which I started. It's got Paul Rubens and John Larroquette and an alien. It is so fucking weird. And so many puns and so much weird shit. The mix up with the two kids and like as you're meeting people at the start of the camp. There's just so many odd gags that are taking weird directions. So I put Nick through that one. There's no good justification, like except that franchise exists and it is now existing IP.
Do you want to see Pee Wee Herman driving a school bus try and take out a kid in a wheelchair?
In fairness, that wheelchair was beating him by a good 5 miles, 10 miles an hour.
I mean, it is a turbocharged wheelchair. Like, it is like the race is not fair. Like, he's winning. But, like, Paul Rubens is definitely like,
he's in a wheelchair. Bullshit, he's got a 350 turbo. My favorite bit in that is the kids all throwing crap at Paul Rubens, the bus driver. And he stands up, lets go of the wheel, and turns around and yells at them. And the joke isn't that he's forgotten that he's driving. What he turns and yells is, "Stop throwing things or I'll kill us all." And then stands there.
Kill all of us.
Like, he's not bluffing. I think we should stop. Yeah, Meatballs 2 is insane. It's existing IP, so do not be surprised if there's anybody ever wants to make a camp movie again that isn't Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
The only problem is, like, Wet Hot American Summer did what I fear the Harley Quinn cartoon has done for a couple of characters. Like, Wet Hot American Summer nailed this so hard that I don't know that you can do it normal again. Like, I don't think you can do Bandcamp American Pie. You have to do Wet Hot American Summer now.
Well, there's like a few things, like Meatballs, of course, leads me to think like Stripes. Like, I don't know how you can do Stripes anymore. They did Enlisted a while back, that show Enlisted, which was great. But like, I don't know how you could ever do the body party comedy is a tough thing to do anymore.
Yeah, it is. And even these are man, they're just trope and weird. Like, where Meatballs 2 shines is in like occasionally just getting away with the joke structure where you're like, okay, and somebody was having fun. Like, sure the job is Meatballs 2, but you snuck in a couple of like, wait, what did that kid say? Fucking strange movie. And all this is building up to me showing Nick Meatballs 3.
There's a Meatballs 3?
Dude, there's a Meatballs 4.
Oh my God.
But the plot of Meatballs 3 and why 1, 2, and 4 are streaming everywhere and 3 is not. So this film goes back and follows the main character from the first movie. The plot: when porn star Roxy DeJour is denied entrance into the afterlife.
Oh no.
She is given one last chance to help some poor soul on Earth. She finds Rudy Gerner working at a summer river resort. Roxy's given the task of helping Rudy lose his virginity in order to be allowed into the afterlife. It is like the Heavenly Kid, Heaven Can Wait, whatever. Angel helping helps a schlub and gets his wings mixed with 40-year-old virgin. It is insane.
It's a Wonderful Life if the angel was a porn star, sure.
Right. And somehow this is the franchise, like, because it follows a kid from the first movie, this is somehow a camp. Like, this is a Meatballs movie. Yeah. 4 has Corey Feldman, so, like, you can see the drop-off.
Yeah, no, I had a thought, but it's gone.
Yeah, that's what Meatballs 2 will do for you.
I had a response to that.
That's about all I watched.
Oh, okay. I kind of a lighter week this week. I watched one more episode of Deep Space Nine, season 5. I finished my watch of season 4 of News Radio, which closes out with the Titanic episode, and introduces. I forgot all about Jimmy's nephew Walt, who's like this young guy who I don't know if he's anybody. I didn't look up to see if he was an actor who went on to be anything. They do this weird thing where like he has the hots for Lisa. It all feels like they were building towards a season 5 that never happened, of course, in the way it happened. And but the Titanic episode is just like the space episode, a fantastic it works as a great series finale because season 5, I don't know if I'm going to rewatch it because season 5 I watched a couple of times and it's got stuff to recommend it. It's got Patrick Warburton's character is particularly great, and it has a pretty solid ending. And honestly, what's his name? God, now I'm blanking on the name. This guy comes in and takes over for Bill. Who's the
John
actor?
Lovitz.
John Lovitz. Lovitz is fine, but he is not Phil Hartman. And the heart of that show, without Phil Hartman, it really changed. And they were in an impossible position. I mean, it's like this was like what happened with Black Panther 2. It's like, well, shit, what do we do now? And I think they pivoted as best they could, but they definitely like they lost something in that show. And so I don't know that I'd go back and watch season 5 again. So I think I'm probably going to go move on to rewatching something else. I watched the first 3 Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, the final season of that. Really, really great. Always forget how good that is. It's opening. Every episode opens with a modern day thing showing either an older Mrs. Maisel now that she is like a comedy legend on the level of sort of Joan Rivers and like
All right.
and touches on sort of that, or it shows her daughter and her now grown daughter who's like a physicist like her granddad or a mathematician like her granddad, and like just so mad at her mom, and it's fantastic seeing these little things like much as I love the show, the little interstitials of like what happens in the later years, I'm like shit, I want more of that, and
That's
I know
great.
I'm not going to get
they
enough
didn't
of
start
it.
the show there too. Like I'm
Yeah.
glad they let it age
Yeah.
up into that.
Yeah, no,
which kept kind of the risk alive of her not. I mean, you kind of figured she was going to make it, but it kept the risk alive
you
of her
never
maybe
knew.
not
Yeah,
making it.
yeah. They've definitely at this point said, yeah, she becomes a comedy legend. But yeah, they're doing really good stuff with that. Watched the latest episode of Top Chef, which I'm really enjoying. Latest episode of Ghosts. I was doing some reorganizing in my office and needed something I put on the TV that I could sort of half watch, and so I threw on Ocean's 8, which I really love and wound up just like sitting and watching huge chunks of. It makes me sad that movie didn't do better because I really would have loved Ocean's 9 and 10. I would
Same.
have loved to have gotten 9 and 10 because man, Ocean's 8 is really, really good. It's as
The
good as
problem's
Ocean's 11.
I don't like it as much as it's a different style. I mean, it's a different director. It's
Yeah.
not Soderbergh doing the same thing.
No,
but
right, yeah.
Yeah,
I
disagree.
feel like they could have course corrected the things that didn't work for me on it and made a 9 and 10 that were fun.
Yeah. I should say, yeah, it's not as good as Ocean's 11. That's a hard bar, but I think it's better than 12 and 13 easily.
No.
I would just I don't know.
No.
I like the
Really?
original. They just
Really?
got a different style.
Interesting.
Randy, the whole heist is pointless. They don't trick Anne Hathaway. The whole heist would not have worked
But-
if she had not decided to be in on it. They're bad criminals.
They're not trying to trick Anne Hathaway,
Yeah, they are.
but it doesn't matter.
No, it only doesn't matter because she doesn't turn them in.
But heists go bad all the time. That's what heists are about.
No, not the Ocean's heists.
Yes, they all
The
go
Ocean's
back all the
heists go
time.
completely as to plan.
No, they don't. That's the
What are
whole
you
point of
talking
them.
about? Yes, they do.
What
They
about
show
when
they show the first movie. It's all about how nope, everything that you thought was going bad was actually to our complete plan.
No, the whole thing of having to get the pinch.
Right, but
When they
that
had-
still worked. Like they didn't get caught. They didn't count on Andy Garcia letting them go.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever.
Come on.
I'm going to disagree with you on this. I think Ocean's 8 works
Also,
great.
like they didn't steal anything. They didn't steal most of it. The dude from from the other movies did.
He was working for them.
Sure, but it proves that they needed a man to help them steal the rest of the actual stuff that was worth shit.
So now, which one of us is the 8? Is it Jan? Is it Yen? Is he 8 or is Anne Hathaway 8?
Again, it's also misnumbered. This movie sucks.
All right, I'm not talking to Nick anymore for the rest of this podcast. I also watched the first 2 episodes
I like
back of
Kate
Barry.
Blanchett and her obvious.
Is someone
like,
talking? I can't hear anyone talking. Is someone talking? I can't hear them.
Her obvious fucking pitch for her, like, I can do the Bowie biopic. Look at my outfits.
I swear someone said something about a Bowie biopic, but was that you, Les? I'm not talking.
It was.
I'm not talking to Nick for the rest of this podcast.
Wow.
There's this weird little mouse voice that just keeps hating Ocean's 8.
Ask Nick what his opinion is. I'm not talking to him.
And then I watched the first 2 episodes of Barry back on season 4 of the final season, and man, it's so fucking good. It's really
I'm gonna
good.
eventually discover that show, and then I'm gonna forget you said that.
Yeah, you're gonna pull a not Brooklyn
Les,
Nine-Nine.
if you want to do like, I'm down for a
Absolutely
rewatch. I'm down for a rewatch if you want to.
Oh no, I'm not ready yet.
It's got to be a couple of years, and then he's
It'll
got
be
to
a
come
sweet spot.
back. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
Just when you've completely forgotten Barry existed.
All right, that will wrap up our appetizers. So this is a good point where we can remind you that you can go over and give us a support us by going over to patreon.com, TV Dudes, and throwing us a fucking episode. And in exchange, we will get to keep our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're talking about Cocaine Bear.
The second most fearful, like scariest mammal and drug combination, just under dolphin and Viagra.
And don't forget Meth Ocelot.
Yeah, Meth Ocelot's pretty bad. I do agree with pitch meeting though. The pitch meeting for Cocaine Bear is fucking hilarious.
It's perfect. And actually, yeah, we'll talk about it when we get to it. I will say I like Cocaine Bear considerably less than I liked Ocean's 8. All right, let's talk about Florida Man. That we watched over on Netflix. This week we were going to talk about Tiny Beautiful Things, which I watched last week, and I will just say quickly, if you like sad middle-aged woman stories like Big Little Lies and all that kind of stuff, which is who made this, you would like it. It's got Catherine Hahn, it's got Merritt Weaver. It completely wastes both of them. I kind of hated it.
Damn.
But I watched all of it. This is a genre I don't get.
You
but
watched
they keep
all
making
of that,
it.
but not all of Florida Man. Randy, I don't get you.
I didn't have time for all of Florida Man. I had time for all of
Yeah, because
Tiny
you're too
Beautiful
busy
Things.
watching. Yeah, all right.
You watching Tiny Beautiful Thing? No, Cheryl Strayed's a great writer, and this is an odd adaptation. And from what I didn't watch it, but from what Fanny told me, the tone was just a little sadder than it.
Yeah, it didn't.
Should
It should have been lighter. It didn't work. It's got stuff
She was
that works.
really looking forward to that show, and it did not make the splash she wanted.
So yeah, and I was like, oh shit, what else is there to watch? So we came up with Florida Man, which is kind of a knockoff of an Elmore Leonard type thing. If Elmore Leonard had some brain damage, and
yeah, this reminds me of the Trav McGee books that I read that are all set in Florida, but this tries to play up the like, I don't know, the Florida-ness of it.
Did you guys look at the guy who created this? I think this is like one of the first things he's created, but he's worked on a ton of TV as a writer and as a producer.
No, I didn't look into the pedigree of it.
Is he behind all the Florida jokes on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Good Place?
Nope, that's killing it.
Nothing that good.
That's the guy
actually killing it. That's actually Luke.
Yeah.
So he wrote For the People. He wrote on This Is Us. He wrote on Sleepy Hollow. That show Mind Games. That short-lived show Mind Games. Heart of Dixie. Ugly Betty. Life as We Know It. Basically, there was nothing in his CV where I was like, oh, I can see where this guy can make a good show.
No, man. All of that is working writer, but none of that's great.
It's rough. And I don't know how Florida Man is, and I'm not going to call it good, but as good as it is. Because
it's when it succeeds and it's killing it vibe, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Like I laughed hard at a couple of moments and so he keeps making the grammar joke through the whole thing. Nick and I kept laughing that no one cares about grammar because the title needs a comma.
Yeah, the
like
title
every
of the
time
show.
I throw that title card up, it's not Florida Man. He's not the Florida Man. It's Florida Man.
Yeah.
Like what happened to your perfectly good small crime plan? Florida Man.
So what I'll say, I think one of the issues with this, so what the show is about is that there's this sort of small time crook in Philly who comes from Florida, does not want to go back there, and through a variety of circumstances, basically a girl who's sleeping with his boss, who's a gang boss in Philadelphia. She goes down to Florida. He's sent to bring her back, and she fakes her death, and he winds up in a treasure hunting scheme with her. His dad also lives down there. His dad, the ex-cop, lives down there, and there's a whole bunch. And there's also he steals a gun from a very excitable sheriff's deputy.
Yeah. Well, he just steals the gun from an airport, but it turns out to be from a
Accidentally,
deputy.
yes.
I do like the prop of the gun is so douchey that you know so much about Clark Gregg in that one moment of just seeing the deputy business card and this douchebag dragon inlaid gun.
Also, I have to believe that it's not that easy to grab a gun from an airport.
That's the only way I sleep at night, so we're just going to go with that.
Don't tell me if it is. Like, I'm just going to choose to believe that it's not that easy, even in Florida.
Nick, I hate to tell you this, but I believe it's exactly that easy.
Yikes.
But that was I do
Yeah.
think the mobster in Philly of like, but you can't fly with a gun. How you gonna get a gun down there?
It's like it's
Man,
Florida.
it's
It's
Florida.
Florida. Don't worry about it.
But then, for as easy as that is, Clark Gregg then goes through straight hell trying to just get a pistol because he can't not.
Man, the Clark Gregg stuff is such a small part of this, and it's my favorite part. Every
Yeah.
time he's on screen is this complete lunatic.
Well, you keep forgetting he's in the show, and then he fucking runs by in a Dwayne Wade jersey he stole.
He's
And,
he's like a psychotic Clark Griswold. I fucking love it. Everything with
Yes.
him. But he's barely
yeah.
in the show.
His whole family goes back to Ohio or wherever
Yeah.
because of how much the fucking dog sitters cost him.
My favorite bit of the 4 episodes I watched, I saw 4 of these, is when he's in jail because he fucked up, and his wife is talking to him, and the phone goes out, and he's like, then his line of other crooks, and the guard's like, just use the speaker, and he turns the speaker on, and his wife is finishing a thought, and her thought is, I mean, you can't treat you this way. You're a law enforcement officer. You've put hundreds of guys behind bars, and they all stare at him. Oh my god, perfection.
And the next time you see him, he's got a black eye and like, yeah.
Yeah, literally the next time you see Clark Gregg, it looks like somebody has about broke his eye socket.
But the problem with this, I think the writing is not quite there, which again is not super shocking when you see the CV of the guy who did it. And unfortunately, I think the leads are not great. I don't think think either. Edgar Ramirez is okay, and Abby Lee as Deli West is fine, but you need a lot more charisma, or there's something like justified missing here. Like they need to be at a higher level to make this work.
If a Timothy Oliphant type was doing that, I'll say I definitely like this more than you, but I do say that there is something wrong and something not quite right in the writing, because every time there's a couple different stories and characters running together, and it feels like every time we run into them, I keep like, oh yeah, I forgot you were here. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about, and you shouldn't. That shouldn't be happening. I should be
over and over and over.
And because his family, his sister is also like a big running plot line, and that comes back into it. And the Florida element, it feels like Clark Gregg's story is just to keep the Florida element throughout. Because sometimes they go through a lot of the heist stuff without really running into Florida problems. It's just kind of like family drama.
Yeah.
But Clark Gregg brings the like, so that there's enough, there's got to be a certain amount of Florida every 15 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah, and I think that they don't do, like, you should be at least on the level of all the crazy if you're calling your show Florida Man, you got to be at least on the level of all the Florida Man headlines we've seen. And this is not like 10% as crazy as Florida Man headlines.
No, it in total across the series, it does a bunch of it does more Florida Man type shit than I thought in the pilot. But it kind of bothered, like, I know we spend the first half of the pilot in Philly before we get to Florida, and then you kind of got to set up why this dude does not want to go the fuck. But you could have got there faster.
Yeah.
And I was the same. I wanted more ape shit like type stuff. Though they do eventually blow a dude up in a porta potty from the fumes, which is Mythbusters actually busted, but it's hilarious on screen.
Yes, I did see that.
And there are several other
they have to retrieve the stolen treasure because someone salvaged it from the bottom of the ocean, put it on a truck, but then that truck ended up in a sinkhole in Florida.
Yeah,
and they have to fucking
like there's a lot of fun coincidence stuff, but it is not. But to go with the title Florida Man, this is just an Elmore Leonard crime thing, and they shouldn't have used the title Florida Man.
The times it hits, I think it's worth the watch for sure, because just even the times it hits, like they do a floor, like one of the openings I think is a news story on like someone brought a samurai sword to a grenade fight. Because it was like, some guy tries to rob a convenience store with a grenade, and then the guy, the cashier pulls a fucking samurai sword, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty Florida.
That feels pretty Florida.
And then the fucking the newscasters are so callous after airing when I'm pretty sure it was like dude, we just all watched a snuff film, and you're like, oh man, shouldn't have brought that sword to grenade fight.
Throw it over to weather.
Yeah,
I definitely enjoyed this more than you, Randy. I mean, I tore through it faster, but I definitely there's something wrong in the lead cat. He does a fine job, and I actually like the way he plays Mike Valentine as this gambler. But is it Edgar Ramirez?
Edgar Ramirez, yeah.
I feel like Deli, the woman that plays Deli, is really doing the heavy
So
lifting.
I really like the woman who plays Deli. She does a great job for me. If you can't get Samara Weaving or Betty Gilpin,
Get this girl.
she's great. Get this girl. But I don't know. And Anthony LaPaglia is great. And his two idiot cops are great. Like I like the growing like cast of people.
His dad,
even Moss. They found I feel like they found the right actor to be soft son who shouldn't be in charge, who is also a hyper violent gangster.
Yeah.
Moss does okay, but it's really Ramirez at the center of the show that feels miscast.
It does. I mean,
both in How the Living Hell are you the only person in your whole family with an accent at all? Am I wrong? Does that happen?
I don't buy Anthony LaPaglia and Edgar Ramirez is related in any way.
No, I'm thinking that the mom must be heavily Cuban. Like that's just
I guess.
Right,
but his sister, like, did he leave?
But his sister
and
dropped the accent then?
Yeah, did he left Florida and develop the Cuban accent in Philly? Like, what the fuck?
Like, I feel like
I was like,
he must have like. I think he's trying to hide the accent every once in a while and just can't. Like he's not that.
And no one else in Coronado Beach.
Yeah,
like.
And I mean,
I think you're right. Like he just can't. Maybe he just cannot drop that accent. I don't know.
We've all seen British actors who give a terrible performance because they're trying to put an American accent. So if the choice between him doing a really terrible performance and doing the accent, even though it makes no sense, this is the right call. But it's a weird call.
Maybe he showed up on set and was trying to do a Florida accent. I've been working with a coach all year. God damn it,
oh,
Edgar,
shit.
stop.
Nope.
You know what?
By the way,
just talk normal.
Do you know who Abby Lee plays Deli West is? I just looked it up. She was in Lovecraft Country. She was the girl, the woman from that.
Yes.
Yeah. She was one of the wives of Morton Joe's wives in Mad Max too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Iris, the ex-wife, who I think if the show really has a missed emotional stake thing, is Iris, because Iris is like, dude, do you want me to sympathize with Iris? Because she is so career hungry.
Yep.
And
I like the actress, but I think she's given a bad story.
And weirdly obsessed with this dude she is not with anymore.
Like, no, I mean, at the start of it, he makes a bit of a playback for her, and she
shuts it down.
Absolutely turns him down.
Yeah.
But then for the rest of the show, she will not just not let him be with Deli.
Yeah.
She seems passive aggressively out to kill Deli.
Yes.
Like she lets her be in situations a couple of times where Nick and I were like, I mean, lady, you're a cop so far out of your jurisdiction. If this woman gets killed with your bug in her purse right now,
what are you going to explain? Her disregard for Deli's life is, I mean, it's on par for a cop, I guess, but not one we're supposed to like, you know?
No, but the show keeps then like trying to get me to feel like Mike owes her anything. And I'll be like, man, you keep making her out to be kind of more of a hardcore psycho than Moss sometimes.
Well, also I like the relationship between Deli and Mike, and how like Mike just can't get around that Deli likes him. It's like, why though?
I do like that.
Yeah,
I'm like a fucking mess.
She seems to really like him, and the fatal flaw in their relationship is that like Mike can't believe it. Like he just won't believe it.
Well, later Iris gets in his head about how Deli has to put on, like, and Deli lies constantly to Moss, like other, like his dad, like in order to keep up this con. But to Mike, she's always kind of like, she's always kept the lie up for him. And then even at the end, Iris gets in his head about like, see, she's gonna sold you out, dude. She's in a room with Moss and a gun. She's saying whatever she needs to fucking get out of it. And and he said
later when he calls her on it.
But then
Deli looks straight at him and like he had a gun on me.
What was I supposed to do?
You're siding with your ex-wife. The only reason you heard that conversation is because she planted a bug in my purse, which would have got me killed if it had been discovered. Like, there's a lot of times of like, Mike, you're an idiot, and maybe that colored my not liking Ramirez as much as the rest of the characters, but Iris was the full misstep in terms of character writing for me. And Ramirez was the miscast, I feel. There should have been a different person at the center.
Yeah.
But again, I think this show is greatly entertaining and definitely worth a watch. I enjoyed myself quite a bit.
If nothing else than just seeing Clark Gregg come full circle.
And I
Oh,
don't.
when he finally comes back, is like you think he's about to come
Oh,
back and like
man.
destroy everything up. How they bring them back is actually refreshing
It's
and
great.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay. It was kind of a fun. I started watching. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of into this. It's got an Elmore Leonard vibe, and then I was like, no, I guess I'll just wait for the Justified sequel.
I like this better than Reprisal. Was what it reminded me of. That weird who is it from Timeless? Where she's back from the dead to reclaim her brother's weird
Oh yeah,
franchises of whorehouses.
that was weird too. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't know if this is gonna get a second season, but I'm down for any other crime stories that want to have like slick criminals that are trying to do an actual slick crime that can't quite do it because their crimes get interrupted by fucking bath salt samurai sword wielding weirdos in ambulances. Like
I'll
like-
tell you the better show for me that should have been called Florida Man would have been the story of the motel owners
yes,
who, Randy,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw far enough to know, they don't own that motel.
Oh no,
They
I
aren't
didn't get to that
citizens.
point.
It was abandoned after a hurricane. The people just went back to Ohio and they never came back. So they just started operating the motel. And they
that
planned
makes-
to buy it, but they can't get loans or anything because they're not legal.
Oh, that
and,
makes so much sense.
And so
And-
like they've got just like a hollowed out bit of a wall full of fucking cash and a gun. And like, but like also it is their motel. So like the whole exchange at the start of like, yes, it's in my possession.
yeah, because
Yeah.
the Palms has an apostrophe and it like it's
like-
possessive.
it-
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's my
mine.
possession.
I possess
Like,
it.
and I'm like, and then later when we realize like, oh, they might have actually stole it from someone named Palm. Like
Like,
this
I-
might
I-
actually be Palm's fucking resort.
But the Florida Man show that I would watch is those two just like looking around after a hurricane and taking over a motel.
Yeah.
And
Or-
then trying to operate it in Florida with this continuous stream of like, well, we thought there'd be like messy people, but fucking Florida, man.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, an
'cause
anthology
the-
where Mike and Deli's story is one story, and
Is
then
one-
another was Clark
yeah.
and like Clark Gregg's story
Which
is
I
another.
guess is that-
like
Was
that
it
kind of
Room
thing.
104 or whatever that show was?
Yeah,
But this
but
would
maybe-
be, yeah.
maybe a little more
I want
interconnected.
trashy Elmore Leonardness of it. Give me an Alfred Hitchcock Presents of the Week.
Yeah,
But it's sad Florida rooms.
right. But
Uh,
also tied together to
but
some extent. I
The
want that.
cliffhanger of the season at the end, or the not cliffhanger, but the tease into a season 2, if they happen to get it, is the I think that's the last scene. A woman walks up with a bag and says, like steps up to the counter, and the guy running the motel says, "How long will you be staying with us?"
Forever.
And or when, how many rooms rooms you need for how long? Oh, I'll take all the rooms forever. It's
This is my-
my motel.
Shit.
And so like if they move into a season 2, like I hope that they roll into that. That would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do wish that the Florida was at least 25% more Florida.
Yeah.
But it is pretty fun. I definitely enjoyed it more than so it's my Ocean's 8 to Randy's.
I liked Ocean's 8 a lot more than I like Florida Man. So
Lewd acts on a flight to Boston. Alligator possession, 500K. Stolen cryptocurrency. Homemade gadgets, hacking gas pumps. Steals ambulance, drives into the mud. Sale of monkey to a celebrity. Florida man, yeah, everybody's heard them. The tales and the stories of the Florida person. Everything and anything they defy general logic. Florida man, I'm all psychotic.
all right, let's talk Power Rangers, or rather, why don't you guys talk Power Rangers? Because I have never seen or want to see Power Rangers.
I only got to enjoy this because of pointedly asking Nick of like, okay, explain. I was born too early for this. I don't understand Power Rangers.
How does Power Rangers work?
Yeah, how does Power Rangers work? I
Well,
had
you
no
see,
idea
when a
the-
greedy studio and a Sentai footage love each other very much.
very much, and New Zealand's abiding. So then when I saw this, I don't know, Nick's definitely going to be the Power Ranger expert to talk about this, but I enjoyed this just from having seen a few episodes of the original series that it's pulling from, and then watching what they do. You can tell how much care went into it. Like even I could catch how much care when they're doing this. The main thing that I really enjoyed about it is that they didn't update the costumes at all.
Yes.
I mean, like the cinematography's better, the camera works better, the stunt works better, and the effects are slightly better, but not to the let's make a Hollywood movie out of it with Bryan Cranston and like pretend like they need to be Marvel Avengers suits. Like, nope, they're spandex. They look exactly like Power Ranger suits. They look like fucking Power Rangers. It's a new Power Rangers episode.
It is bizarre seeing the Mighty Morphin suits with today's technology and choreography and wire work, because like they didn't have the wire work back then so the fighting is really good. The fucking special starts with the Yellow Ranger just straight up dying. Rito also comes back and fucking wipes out a Ranger.
I looked over at Nick and was like, I don't know a lot about this franchise, but she never actually, it's like G.I. Joe, right? Like she doesn't legit kill one, right?
No, I think one time in Space, when the actual Pink Ranger got diagnosed with cancer in real life, did they have to kill her off in that season? But otherwise, Power Rangers don't. You don't have to break the news about your parents' death because they died in a fucking Sentai battle. That's not how. Like them, they go to like Trini's daughter's house and have to explain
Like they're standing in the living room of like, but we're not supposed to tell her we're Power Rangers. Man, we gotta tell her something.
We gotta tell her, like, what are we gonna tell her? Why? How are we gonna explain? What are we gonna say, that she drowned? Why is there no body? Like,
man,
they have to work around obviously Jason David Frank and Jason Aston, or I forget what the Red Ranger's name is, and Kimberly, the original Pink Ranger. They sidelight them really fast and go with some of the secondary Rangers and stuff, so because just the contracts and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty cool seeing Zach and Billy and Rocky and some of the other Rangers. They even bring Johnny Young Bosch and the other, I think it was the second Yellow Ranger as a space cameo. And yeah, they do a lot of fun stuff as far as bringing back the car that they used to all drive, a flying car. And I'm not sure if it was this in the original, probably not. It can't fly without the windshield wipers on. The windshield wipers are always on when it flies because that's how it was in the original. And in this one, she's trying to figure out how it flies, and she activates the windshield wipers. And I'm not sure if that was how it is in original, but that's what activates the flying mechanism. The flying and the windshield wipers are the same button. And I was just like, that's amazing. I don't know if that's how it's always been, but that's now how it is.
It definitely gave it like a Galaxy Quest Josie and the Pussycats vibe of like, wait, do the space controls work like this because I moved my hands like this?
Yeah, and the way they bring Rita back is a big lore, like grabbing back from In Space and how Zordon died and the Z-Wave and a bunch of other really deep lore drops and stuff, which was fun for me because even I, who stopped, I watched up until In Space and even a little bit of Lost Galaxy, and could really appreciated them going back and grabbing other Rangers and the Trublian Empire, like they mention. They bring back the Jew. They had to rebuild. There's no way that set still existed. They had to rebuild the Juice Bar from the original. And apparently the guy the actor who played the Juice Bar owner died. And so they knock over his grave in the fucking beginning of it, which was a pretty dark cameo, if I'm going to be honest. But
yeah, Austin St. John is the guy's name you were.
Austin St. John, that's what it was like.
Yeah.
I was like,
Jason
John
Scott.
Austin? What was?
Yeah, he's not dead. He's was arrested for legal issues in May of 22 and is on probation and cannot travel.
Yeah, so he probably couldn't make it to wherever they were going.
No, you couldn't make it. Jason David Frank died. Tui Trang played Trini Kwan. Yeah, she died in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy Jo Johnson did not want to return.
Yeah. so and then the story kind of centers around obviously Trini's daughter, and then Billy. Billy is a big part of it, and I found that very touching because in the meta-ness of it is the actress that played Trini was what was it, Cranston's, well, I forget what his actual name is, but
Mhm.
it was his friend on the set because he was bullied heavily on that set for being gay, which, I'm not sure exactly what actors, like which producers or actors like made that a not fun shoot for him, but I know I've seen footage to where Jason David Frank he comes across and the actor that plays Billy's face just drops like he
David
fucking
Yost.
hates that guy. So I know it was definitely a little bit of that, not to put any uh disparity like on they might have made up at the like it's been years. It's been fucking like 3 decades. So the who knows what Jason David Frank and him had been doing in the meantime. But having it be about them and their relationship was particularly effective, I thought. And then I kind of I missed the Sentai battle with the suits at the end, the Megazord, because obviously I'm like, oh yeah, they don't have the fucking Megazord suit. They definitely don't still have that. That definitely didn't store well, probably. So it's a big CGI battle instead, which looks okay. They can do some
Yeah,
stuff with
that's
it
the
that
only-
they couldn't do, but
The big CGI battle was disappointing even for me. The funniest part to me is that the villain's entire plot centers around capturing rangers and shrinking them down and stealing their life force. Like they're like paralyzed and shrunk down. So when they're paralyzed and shrunk down, they turn into what are fucking clearly
The action
Power
figures.
Rangers action figures.
yeah, like I straight up think like I had one of those toys.
Yeah, like she's collecting them like she has like 20 something Power Ranger action figures on like a wall display, basically, hooked to a machine.
She's almost got a full set of the Lost Galaxy
It-
characters.
It's just hilarious to me. Like if you just captured all the Joes and you just turned the Rock into
Also, she's got a couple
You
of
know.
the Sixth Rangers without the other team, which was weird. She's got the Wild Force Sixth Rangers. She's got the like, was it Gold Ranger or Centurion? I forget, but like one of the black one that
you were
you guys
naming
saw.
a bunch of them, man.
I was
They all look
like,
like Power Rangers to me. It's like, oh, there's another black one. Hey, there's another red one.
there's a fine tradition of Sixth Rangers, of like the one that's not part of the team. The Green Ranger that shows up, but. Yeah, wow, I had a lot of fun. I think if you're a Power Rangers fan, this couldn't be like you couldn't have asked for any more from this.
Yeah, I this seems kind of like a model for 30th anniversary nostalgia grabs. Like this was done really, really well.
Together, my lord Sauron, we shall rule this Middle Earth.
I will take the ring to Mordor.
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my axe.
You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
All right, let us talk about Ted Lasso. Let's have our dessert. This was one of those episodes watching it. I loved every minute of it, and I was thinking, man, I think people are going to hate this episode.
Could be.
I was afraid it was going to be another Beard Alone episode, which I did not like as much as everybody.
Man, I love that Beard episode, but I know some people hated it, and this felt like a little bit of that, but it didn't have the entire cast. But it was weird. Like, this is not about soccer in any way. Like, the soccer happens at the very beginning, it's over.
They're having such a losing streak that I kind of felt like it was right. Like I felt it of like the show needs, man, the team needs something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like they need their night.
And this is an hour-long episode. This is one of the longer episodes of Ted Lasso.
I didn't realize that. Holy
Yeah.
shit, is it?
It's almost an hour. Wait, Les, you didn't realize it was long? Oh my God,
No.
it's the apocalypse.
It flew by for us. We were having a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, that tells you it's good if it's long. It was a long episode.
Wow, I really did not realize it was
Yeah,
it was
It
longer
was
than
almost
usual.
an hour long, yeah. And clearly shot in Amsterdam. Like, they got their money's worth out of that.
Oh man.
Let's go find a windmill.
When she falls in that canal, I was like, ugh.
There was so much I loved in this. The runner of Higgins being like, yeah, I'm going to the red light district. I'm like, no.
Nah, I love
no.
that he
Nah.
refuses to like explain, and everyone else doesn't like.
Tonight
nah.
young Will becomes a man.
Nah. They're like it
Like,
can't be. It can't be.
it
what
can't be what
thi-
we think. Yeah.
And I love that right before the reveal, Will's like, "Is everything okay at home?" Or
Right. And of course, it's his
Yeah.
jazz kick. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that was so good. Like seeing him
Yeah.
get to that. That's like that is for Higgins. Like that is the big his dream that he gets to do that. It's nice to see him
Yeah.
get that win. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a nice couple invited me to a threesome.
Like, I love that he tells his mom that.
Yeah.
Yes. The whole team having the bonding night of trying to figure out what to do.
Yep.
Because like
Oh,
we've
man.
all at some
Everybody's
point
been
had that
there.
night
Everybody's been there.
Mm-hmm.
where you had a better night with your friends, never leaving the apartment, trying to figure out where the fuck to go.
Yep.
Yeah. Or spend a whole night at one bar just trying to figure out where to go.
And it pays off the pillow fight thing. They've been teasing that
Oh,
since
yeah.
season 1.
Yep.
And
then
it pays off. And it's
What are we gonna
beautiful.
do with all this aggression?
and I love the same way that. So I was telling Nick, I feel like they do a slick thematic thing here. That's just pure Ted Lasso with the psychic and the mushrooms.
Yeah.
So it's not that the things that the psychic said aren't happening. Psychics are kind of purposely vague, like a horoscope, and you can find the things, and it's
Mhm.
more about you being aware and looking for patterns and staying open. And the mushrooms don't magically give Ted a good idea.
Nope.
Ted gets into a space where he thinks something's going to happen, and something happens.
This episode is all about people getting out of their own head.
It's not that there's not magic, but magic's not. It's not magic.
Yeah. I love that Beard. Well, I didn't need another Beard episode to see his craziness. I love that you can imagine exactly what happened when he
Oh,
shows up
man.
in that van.
Piggy
dressed as
Stardust.
Piggy
Piggy
Stardust. Oh, it was so good. And you speak Dutch? Don't tell Jan.
I'll tell you on. Everything with Rebecca is really good. Like there's although the people I was watching with, she was like, get his fucking phone number. What is wrong with you? You didn't exchange contact information.
Dude, they don't know each
They don't
other's
know their
names.
names. Yeah.
Which
I'll
also
forget
had to
you.
be nice for her because she's fucking Googleable.
Not if you
But
throw your phone in the canal.
Man, she's gonna find. She could find him again.
Oh yeah. I also really thought the way they did the column thing was good, and we'd all kind of suspected that Trent was
It's
gay.
weird.
I mean, you
realized that,
definitely-
no, they've never really. Yeah, you'd pointed that out, and it was weird. Like when you said it, I realized that they've never shown it. They've never shown us that, but I was like, yeah, no, I just.
I mean,
sure.
When you said it, I was like, I didn't refute it. I was like, no, that does sound right. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's talked about his daughter, and so that was the one thing. I think he said something about his wife at some point. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. It's just a vibe I'm getting.
Mhm.
It's kind of nice. I don't mean that from a gaydar sense of like, I think the actor that plays Trent is coming off as gay. It just in like, I think we've reached a point where there's enough gay characters on TV that I'm like, yeah, no, coin flip. That tracks. There's
makes
nothing
sense.
there's nothing plot wise set up yet that means he can't be.
But I thought that little bit between him and Colin was fantastic. That was just a really, really good little bit. And I love that
I
he's.
also love the bartender.
I love that he's.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, but I love that he's also like, look, I've known for months. I haven't said anything. He's like,
is there a reason for that?
And he also says, he's like, I know how hard it is, but I also know I'm not an athlete. Like he is not doing the, you should come out. It'll be so much better. He's I get where you're coming from.
He's really just giving him somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed he doesn't argue the rightness of staying in the, like, look, man, you do you.
Yeah.
But instead he comes at it of like,
but how do you do it?
Yeah, how do you do it? That's amazing. Like, like I don't know how you're doing that.
Yeah. That was really, really good.
Colin really like laid it all out on the line. I thought it was like a really touching scene.
Yeah, it was a really good scene.
An amazing scene.
Yeah, he's had little bits, but this was his thing to chew into, and he really nailed it.
Yeah.
And then everything with Roy and Jamie, I have loved what they've done with Jamie this season. I'm
in love with Jamie.
Jamie's love. Can you imagine from season 1 when he was such a prick to this point where he's like he knows he used to be a huge prick.
They explain his love of Amsterdam.
Yep.
And the explanation tracks so like, oh
yeah,
okay.
100%.
It's so touching. that he doesn't remember his dad, and I mean, like, oh yeah, no, what I mean, I remember my dad taking me here to get the whore, but I don't really remember the sex, whatever.
Yeah.
He clearly remembers every single detail of the
tour,
Yeah.
because
The mom's
his mom took him on the
Amsterdam
tours and the museums and the
Yep.
history, and
Yep.
he remembers. It's one of his treasured memories, and he's sharing it with Roy, his like
Yep.
new like, and
Yep.
Roy not knowing how to fucking
Ride a bike.
ride a bike.
which I'm realizing now is a huge disservice to his memory, and I'm feeling bad.
And he's
Shade
doing
about
that
it.
thing. He's doing that thing where he's about to cry. Like we don't see Roy being that emotionally vulnerable. Yeah. That was great. Him teaching the music cue of using raindrops or the raindrops keep falling on my head, which is a nod to Bunch and Sundance.
Mhm.
Man, what a great little touch that was.
Yeah, it was.
Everything with the
Such
two
a-
of them was
yeah.
great. I love that whole story.
Or I just
that
pick it
whole
up
story.
angrily, I guess.
Oh, in the line of the show though, for me, when Keely buzzes off to go jet off to Norway with Jack,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
have her whole
Fuck.
thing, and Roy walks up and goes, "Where's she off to?" And Rebecca says, "Off to meet someone who thinks they deserve her."
Damn.
Which says something about, like, look, I'm not saying that Jack's right for her, but I'm saying Jack thinks that Jack deserves her.
Yep.
Keely thinks Jack deserves her. You're the person standing here that Keely wants, and the only reason you're not with her, Roy, is that you don't think you deserve Keely.
Yep. And you know what's great about that? That is a flip back. Like Roy and Rebecca are not like super close, but he had that bit when she was with the sort of loser
Mhm.
that
Yes.
she was like, he was like, "Do not settle for fine. You're better than fine." And he
Yeah.
can't see it for himself, but he saw it for her, and she's doing the same thing for him.
It's like she tags him with so much in that one sentence,
Yep.
and then walks
Yep.
off. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, Roy.
That was
Check
fantastic.
your shit.
Yeah.
She's-
Oh, and that's,
well, also
that's why he's
Keely's her
upset.
friend too, so like
Yeah.
she just goes for the jugular, like
Yep.
fucking
Mhm.
Yep. But that's why he's upset the entire rest of the episode.
yes.
And I love that when he tells Jamie Keely's got a girlfriend, that Jamie reels a little bit too, because Jamie still loves her too.
Mhm.
And I like the two of them sort of quietly bond over that and then go see some windmills.
Let's go see some
Mhm.
windmills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find a fucking
just-
windmill.
Just a fantastic episode. Isaac's speech when he gets so
Yes.
frustrated with them is glorious.
How will we bridge this divide?
And Danny's like, well, someone wrote tulip in Spanish. Yes.
You wrote it
Oh my
in Spanish.
God.
Didn't you? Someone did.
Someone did, yes.
Oh, and Jan, like, yeah, let's go to this party in Amsterdam. It's actually 2 hours away by bus. You're like, what? Man,
And,
I mean, fuck you.
and Van Damme's sex club thing that he will not let go.
They're tired.
No.
They're exhausted. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
honestly, like why are they arguing about going to a party 2 hours away? I'm like, dude, it's Amsterdam. Go down the street. There's gonna
Yeah.
be a bar.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
go down the street some more. There's gonna be a fucking cafe that smells
Coffee
space
shop.
cake.
Yeah.
Go get annihilated and like
But see, that's the thing. When you've got 19 people getting everyone on board with an idea and you want everyone there,
yes.
man, it's impossible.
If somebody
it's
wrote
impossible.
pillow fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, Sam does it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I just love that, like, anybody was like, I will settle this right now.
Yep. Yep.
Here you go.
Yep. Yeah, that was it was a great episode, and now we've got how they're gonna work what the magic sauce is that's gonna get them past Zava.
Well, the magic sauce is the opposite of Zava. Instead of
Yeah.
one superstar player, what if there's all of us play every position and we always
Everybody
have each
plays,
other's backs
yeah.
everywhere?
I love
What
them
if
bringing
it's the
in,
most team ever?
by the way, bringing in another American sport, basketball. I love that they and tying into Ted's childhood. Such a
Yeah.
great, because like one of the things this show's been about is that Ted's unfamiliarity with soccer is part of what makes him a good coach.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that, oh yeah, he's reinventing something that's already been invented, but he had no idea. Like he had to come to it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you think of this yourself?
It's called total
Yep.
football.
It was
You
invented in
should
the
call
70s.
it total football. That's what the Dutch called it when they invented it here. in the 70s.
But do you think it's something we
Yeah.
should do, right? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No, I'm
it's
really
so
happy
good.
about this episode. I don't know how many more we've got this season, but I'm treasuring
Not
everyone.
enough.
And I'm seeing I've got friends. We've got friends. I think Grant, former TV dude Grant, was griping about this. I've seen people who are just like, Ted Lasso sucks this season. I'm like, what fucking show are you watching?
I mean, All I can chalk it up to is like I have years where like, oh, okay, I don't want that show anymore, but everybody else still does, and it's still going.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. I don't see the fundamental difference between
Nothing's
this season
changed.
and the previous.
It's the same show it's always been.
This is the Atlanta season 3 or whatever all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm telling you, there's no significant difference between this season and any of the other seasons.
Nope.
We've all seen shows go long enough, like Supernatural or whatever, where like the full showrunner crew completely changed. Good Wife, I think, went through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where like the camera work, the lighting, the look of it, everything looks like it is a show aping itself.
Yeah. I lived through the Scott Buck transition of Dexter.
Right, like we've all seen shows just break off.
You want to see a show get bad? I can get you a toe.
This is right with nail polish. Yeah, this is still the same show, just going in a direction that you like. This book's going to have an ending that maybe you don't quite like. That's not the same as it breaking off and being different to me.
Yeah.
It didn't get shitty. It's just arcing in a way that maybe you're not cool with. But honestly, I'm so impressed with how it's always subverted my expectations, and it's done so like literally last episode, as I was looking at Nick of like, man, they need to get the fuck off this psychic thing. It's the one thing they've ever done that I don't want this show to be magically solved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the moment where like Rebecca storms in and like, or gets the call and like, oh no, you're still not fertile.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
This was another great episode. I thought I very much enjoyed this. I'm very much loving this season. All right, I think that wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Randy.
More phenomenal dudes.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Remind you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes and throw us that $1 an episode. Listen to us talk about things like Cocaine Bear, which we're going to talk about tonight. And reminder, as always, that Ocean's 8 is the second best Ocean's movie, and TV Dudes out!
Yeah, Nick, you want to watch Ocean's 8 in a minute?
Never.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.